Adam Hayes was lying in the center of the bed when the nightmare came. The tremor started at the edge of his lips, a ripple that twisted into a feral snarl. He started to sweat, hands tearing at the sheets, eyes pinballing behind closed lids, mind trapped in the horrors of the past. He waited in the shadows, eyes closed, ears straining for the sound of his approaching prey. Kill them all. That was the order. He was just the instrument, a man conditioned to kill without hesitation. His hand closed around the hilt of the knife at the small of his back. The metal hilt felt cold through the latex gloves. The blade came free with the hiss of steel on leather, and Hayes opened his eyes. The sentry's face was green in the night vision. Now, the voice told him, and he struck. Hayes's hand sneaked under the pillow, and his fingers closed around the reassuring steel of the Springfield 9mm EMP. He rolled off the bed and dropped into a crouch, the hard wood cold as a corpse on his bare knees. Muscle memory had taken over, and his hands worked independently of thought. The snap of the pistol onto the target and the flick of the thumb disengaging the safety came unbidden. It was only when his index finger curled around the trigger, compressing the spring until all it would take was a whisper of pressure for the gun to fire, that Hayes became conscious of the moment. Then the nightmare evaporated. Hayes blinked the world back into focus, his eyes falling to the outstretched pistol, sights centered on the shirt hanging on the back of the door. Jesus Christ! He let go of the trigger and snicked the safety into place. The realization that he'd come within a hair's breadth of sending a 9mm hollow point through the door made him sick to his stomach. It was 5:05 in the morning, and the nightmares were getting worse. When he trusted his legs to hold him, Hayes grunted to his feet, placed the pistol on the bedside table, and padded across the hardwood to the bathroom. He palmed the wall switch, and the overhead lights flashed to life, revealing the massive scars that crisscrossed his bare torso like lines on a topographic map. He stopped at the sink, plucked the orange pill bottle from the open medicine cabinet, and twisted the cap free. He shook a dose into his hand. The oblong pill in his calloused palm reminded him of the last appointment with the shrink in Tacoma. "What about the nightmares?" she asked, over the scratch of her pen across the paper. "Haven't had one in months." "Adam, you are making wonderful progress," she said, tearing the sheet from the prescription pad. "But—" "There's always a but." "But there will be setbacks." "Setbacks." He felt the anger stir in his gut, like a wolf waking in its den. 3 nightmares in 1 week wasn't a setback. It was a fucking meltdown. He was pissed, mad that he'd listened to her, let himself believe that he'd made progress, that he could be normal. "No," he said aloud. "That's not who I am anymore." He took a breath, placed the pill in his mouth, and gently closed the door. He took a drink of water from the sink, and when Hayes looked up, his eyes alighted on the sheet of construction paper taped to the glass. The stick figure family holding hands beneath a lemon-yellow sun. Hayes brushed his finger over the "I love my daddy" scrawled in crayon, a sad smile stretching across his face. In the shower, he twisted the cold water knob all the way to the left and ducked under the shower head. The water came out of the pipe ice cold and hit his flesh with the sting of a bullwhip. His mind recoiled. Muscles tensed like hawsers beneath his skin, forcing the air from his lungs. But Hayes stood fast and waited for the question that had greeted him every morning for the past 18 months. How did I get here?